Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Books and Buds, where we discuss two of the greatest things on planet Earth, books and buds. I got a book right here, I got some weed right here. I don't even know what kind of weed this is. I saw it in a baggie, decided to break it up and roll a joint. I'm sure it'll be fine, we grow it ourselves, so I'll be very happy with it. So, the book we're going to be discussing on today's program is The Colorado Kid by Stephen King. Many people might not have heard of it. From what I understand, a little bit of backstory on it is he decided to do it as like a favor for the publisher, Hard Case Crimes. I guess they're having a little bit of trouble getting off the ground a little bit, so he's a big help in the publishing industry. He's all about helping people people whose writing he likes. I notice he's got his own shelf at Barnes & Noble here in Augusta, Maine. Stephen King Boulevard is where that's on. But it's like, if you like Stephen King, you might also like these things in his books that he recommends. So he's pretty cool like that. If he likes you, he'll try to help you out. Now, you might have noticed it's a very slim copy. It's because they're trying to bring back the days, like of the pulp fiction. They call it pulp fiction because they used to make it so quickly. It was on pulp paper. And it wasn't the best quality of paper or anything, but the books are pretty nitty-gritty, so it actually worked. Kind of a nitty-gritty story and on nitty-gritty paper, and it was done pretty quickly, and people really enjoyed them back in the day. And I'll be honest with you, I enjoyed this book too. Now, I said in a previous video that Stephen King is not a horror writer. Sure, he's written a lot of horrors, but in my humble opinion, he's a writer. Period. There's no genre before the word writer. He writes whatever the hell he writes. And in this case, he wrote a mystery. At least that's what it's labeled. In my humble opinion, this is more of a literary because it's based more on the three main characters, I would say, than it is around the mystery that they're discussing. So I'll give you a little bit of a brief backstory on this book. So the three main characters, it's this young woman named Stephanie, and she's interning for a small newspaper up off an island off the coast of Maine. She just wants to intern there and kind of learn the ropes, so to speak, from the older people. And the two older people in question are this gentleman named Dave and this gentleman named Vince. Now, they've been in the newspaper business for a long time. I believe Vince himself is like 90. And I love the way Stephen King kind of describes the character. There's one scene where he has a seat and he just twists this way and twists that way. And his entire back creaks. He calls it just setting his back, And of course, Dave likes to bust his chops about it. Someday you're going to be paralyzed if you keep doing that. Great character development, though, and it's done in just a matter of a couple of words, a couple of sentences, really. Stephen King's pretty good at that. I take a lot of what I do in my own writing from writers like that, because I personally enjoy prose. I like the way it breaks up the dialogue. So what happens in this novel is she's kind of looking for some unsolved mysteries that she can maybe test her, because she's young, she's ambitious, she wants to test out her journalistic integrity and go try to get to the bottom of some cases. So they tell her about the Colorado Kid, but a dead body that was found on the island, and nobody's been able to discover to be able to figure out who did it. And this is like 30 years ago. So it's interesting, and why I say it's not really a mystery, because normally in your murder mysteries, the murder gets solved. Stephen King doesn't really care about solving the mystery, Now, a lot of people say, it bothered me because I'm sitting there wondering, who the hell did it? And it's been racking my brain for months. Sometimes people will say years. Doesn't rack my brain at all. The story's over. It didn't really happen. It's fiction. You want to know what I care about? I care about the characters, and that's what stuck with me throughout the last several years. I think I read this over 10 years ago. I briefly went through it again, too, to make sure I had a little bit of my story straight, but I read it 10 years ago, and it hasn't changed at all since I read it. So, yeah, it stuck with me, and I really enjoyed it because it's the characters that I care about. I care about characters more than I care about story. And it was about their interaction in this cute little newspaper place, and they were just talking. And it was just wonderful. It was really wonderful. Excuse me a second. So speaking of which, so this is a short novel. Short novel. And I happen to have read, this one's considered kind of a novella because of its length. It's not even 200 pages long. I think it's only 180. I wrote a novella, a novelette myself, and it's being released in the box set coming out. It's available for pre-order now. It's 99 cents for 26 books. Not short stories, but novellas and novelettes. All for 99 cents. That's less than 5 cents a book. I'll be leaving the link to that in the description below because we're aiming to try to become at least USA bestsellers on this one. I think that'll help my career out quite a bit. Also, later on this year, keep an eye out for my book, Corpse Lily. So that's about it for this book. I mean, it was just so damn short. But the characters in this book were wonderful, and I just loved them. I loved Stephanie. I loved her ambition. I loved the old guy, Vince. He was my favorite because he was just this kind of cool old guy. He was a bit frumpy. He didn't really care who he bothered. The guy was 90 years old. You know, and I love characters like that, and I've always liked how Stephen King, he captures Maine so well because this is where Burning Bush is located. We're in Maine. He captures Maine as well. I mean, they're very kind of slower, you know. It's like a not slower mentally, but it's just a laid back vibe. People drive under the speed limit. People walk. If there was a speed limit, they'd be walking underneath it. They say a lot. Yeah. Every single one of Stephen King's books, like one of his characters says that. Yeah. That's what they sound like up here. So Stephen King catches that brilliantly, and I just love the detail. Even a book this short, he puts a lot of detail in there to just keep you right into the story, and it's just wonderful. I just really enjoyed it. So I'm not going to leave a description for this book I'm not going to leave a link to this book in the description below because Stephen King doesn't really need the money. But you guys know where to find it. Go to any bookstore, go to Amazon, go to Nook, go to Kobo, whatever. You'll find it. That's about it for today, guys. Keeping this one short because it's a short book, and it's almost the 4th of July week, and I'm getting ready to have a good time. So making this quick. Keep your eye out for Burning Bush merch. You can find it on burningbush207.com. You can find t-shirts like the ones I normally wear. You guys have an amazing day.